This is the Bear Country Outdoors Barely a Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Joyce, and with me is James Forsland and Chris Cantrell. Thanks for joining. Here we are, round 2 tonight, boys.
We're ready for this.
This is going to be a good one.
Yep.
So Chris is going to start off by go ahead and telling us a little bit about what happened in the gun ban, giving us an update on what's going on. And also, we should talk about what is happening after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing a lot of companies coming out and organizations coming out that are trying to fight this.
Yeah.
And let's fire it up a little bit.
Let's get the scoop.
So HB 1240 in Washington State was signed by Jay Inslee, our Fuhrer. So it's a 127% infringement on your 2A rights. It takes no consideration for the Constitution, which sucks, because if you're a Washington resident and you like your Constitution, you're going to pay to fight yourself on this, unfortunately. So he did sign it. It's in effect. It went into effect immediately because he made it a health and safety concern. But the kicker was, like, he waited a week almost to sign it so he could get all the fanfare and all the nonsense.
Yep.
Even though it was an
Make
immediate
a political stunt out of it.
Yeah, 100%. The guy's a total piece of shit. I mean, him and Jay Inslee and Bob.
Get it out of the way, Chris.
Yeah, him and Bob Ferguson are quite possibly some of the worst human beings. They're right up there with Justin Trudeau. They're just not good people.
Say, don't forget Trudeau.
Yeah, they're just bad. They're just bad people in general. They're number one. They're liars, right? They're bad people in general. They have no character.
Slimy snakes.
They're very slimy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very, very slimy. They're not the kind of guy that, like, whether you are right or left or whatever you believe in, they're not the kind of people that you would invite to your house to sit down with your family to have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
They're bad people, right? And they're devious, and they lie. They're just bad people. So anyways, long story short, he signed it. Unfortunately, right now for the Washington residents, you can't buy any sort of semi-auto rifle, or there's some shotguns and some pistols involved in this. We're not going to get into that right now. But long story short, there are some really, really good organizations that are fighting against it for us. One is Firearms Policy Coalition. And the people that I name, or the organizations that I name up on this, we as a company support them. We give them our hard-earned dollars, and we would appreciate it if you would do the same. If you don't have any money, they have emails you can get signed up for where there's like you can take actions against people and sign up for
a petition,
petitions and
sort,
things.
Yeah.
Just anything you do to help.
Petition.
Even if it's a couple bucks, like give them a couple bucks. Like they have attorneys on staff that fight for your rights. So if you really do care about this, everyone has a couple bucks. Don't get your Starbucks coffee. Send it to these guys. So Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, the Silent Majority Foundation. They're all pushing really, really hard for our rights, and we would appreciate it.
The NRA jumped in finally.
The NRA finally jumped in.
I'm wondering if they were kind of waiting for the whole thing to kind of play out before they kind of showed their hand.
I don't know. I go back and forth. Like, I'm an NRA Life member, don't get me wrong.
Same here.
But, like, I just feel like it's just such a big organization
It's
now.
a huge organization, but they're also fighting the whole world.
There's battles everywhere. That they're
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is just another, front on their battlefields that they're fighting, and we're very thankful that the NRA is stepping in.
So,
Yeah.
long story short, support these people, support all these organizations. Unless you're going to personally hire an attorney, or if you are an attorney and you're out there fighting.
Didn't Aero Precision hire, or didn't they follow their own lawsuit as well?
I think they did. And as if anyone has followed
Honestly, any gun business or gun company or store should
file their
do
own
so.
Yeah, if you have the means to
do it now before things get, too.
So Aero Precision is a local company here out of Lakewood, and in the gun shop, personally, in my other business, we use all of their stuff. We use their stuff for our just regular standard high precision long range builds, but we also use their stuff for our law enforcement builds. and they're a great company, a fantastic company. Like you go there and it's like walking into Boeing, and the facility's amazing. But anyways, they employ a ton of people, and Inslee's basically just trying to get rid of all these people, shut them down, no jobs. And I can't say enough bad things about Jay Inslee and Bob Ferguson. They're just really bad people. So, anyways, long story short, it is passed. You cannot buy the most popular sporting rifle in the history of the world, which is used every day by multiple people, which is the AR platform, and whether it be a 15 or 10. So long story short, we're in a bind right now. Hopefully these lawsuits get some sort of an injunction, and then we just go back to regular life and enjoy our constitutional freedoms. But right now, they are infringed upon, and we're hoping to fix that.
It.
Yeah, it's a mess. So yeah.
How would they? This is the real question: is how would they enforce it right now if they wanted to enforce it? Because I feel like a lot of law enforcement would push back on that, on even enforcing it.
So the kicker is, without going down this deep, dark rabbit hole, is the vast majority of law enforcement, because obviously in the gun shop I deal with them on a regular basis, and they're just like you and us, right? Like they believe in the Constitution, they believe in obviously enforcing the law, but at the same time, like, our freedom. So I have received letters from, like, our sheriff's department said, hey, like, this is a law, but we're just gonna it's business as usual type of thing. But, like, do I feel like the sheriff department is going to show up at my house and check all this stuff? Like, I don't believe so. And I think that they're having a tough time because it's going to get reversed,
right.
It's
freaking crazy.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's no way.
Absolutely, the words in the amendment that said our rights will not be infringed.
Yeah, it's the second thing we wrote.
Yeah. I mean, they're already going after the first one, and the second one.
What's crazy to me is, like, just if any of you guys follow this page, you'll just see the irony in all this. Is like, there's a page called Seattle Looks Like Shit.
Yep.
And you can see all of the things that are going on. And now you can see them in person if you want to go down and spend some time down there. Or you don't even have to go to Seattle. You can go to Everett.
Yeah.
Like any of these places where there's high population of homeless and drug addicts. But it is like, crime is an okay, normal, everyday occurrence on the open street within Seattle and everywhere else. But then you have this thing that they're like, well, you know what? Let's just leave all that alone. Like, don't worry about the people dying of, overdoses on the street in tens a night. On fentanyl and methamphetamine and stuff like that. And people chasing people down the roads with knives and trying to kill people and people killing people. And don't worry. Well, that'll all work itself out. Why don't we go ahead and take away these assault weapons? These assault weapons is what we're going to call them.
That
from the people that are just normal people.
Only affecting law-abiding citizens.
100%.
Any gun law, if you understand what these laws are affecting, it's only affecting the people that are law-abiding citizens.
Right.
Criminals, it does not matter if you take away every single gun in this country. A criminal is going to somehow do something.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's all in the intent in the person.
Yep. We've talked about it before over and
go
over.
on and on and on and on.
Yeah, it really sucks.
He told the story about David and Goliath.
Yep, with the rock and it's not
Cain and Abel.
It's not the weapon, it's the person behind it and the intent.
It's all about the intent.
And you can grab a freaking stick and go, it kills people with sticks. Like,
it's
you hit someone in the head with a stick and they're not.
I don't even need sticks.
No, you just use your fist.
God gave me sticks right here, like like
lightning and thunder,
a little lightning, little thunder, and like, I'm not even a tough guy, but I'm like, there's
if it came down to it,
like it's just. Long story short, like Doug said, it's silly. Like, the only people that abide by these rules are law-abiding citizens, and I just don't get it. Like, that when you look at the amount like they talk about mass shootings and stuff, and it's like hundreds of people died in mass shootings, which is horrible, right? And obviously, children and I think that's like the big trigger is like hundreds of children have died in like the last decade in mass shootings. But then you look at like there's 2.5 million people that die in the United States every year. I'm ballparking here. And the vast majority is like from heart disease and things like that. And you look at these other things and like, so we're talking about hundreds versus of millions, and the trigger are they guns? So you want to like, I think because there's pushback, right? Like, so all like the fat, disgusting people that are sitting on their couch that are obviously they're not listening to us, but like,
I think people die more from obesity than
like
guns.
The hard left liberal that's watching Maury Povich right now.
It's hard to say.
Yeah, like they just. I mean, it's
100%.
The thing is,
the numbers.
It's easy to get upset about. It's a hot and button topic.
How many people are dying of fentanyl overdose in the country?
Oh, that's
right
the
now?
thing. Like, I guarantee you. Like, I bet you 50 people died in Seattle tonight.
Yeah, probably.
Guaranteed.
I mean, Seattle's like almost 1 million people in population.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
probably.
if you really think so,
it could be less because there's been a lot of people moving out of
yeah,
Seattle.
that's true. They're all coming up here and ruining our area.
Yeah,
but back to the gun laws, right? So like gun bans don't work. They're proven not to work. There's been multiple studies done. Like the Bill Clinton ban when he banned assault guns, it didn't work. And when I say assault guns, it just even hurts my feelings to say it. It's so dumb. Like there's no such thing as an assault weapon, right? It's just a gun.
You can assault somebody with anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
assault bat. I mean,
I think
it's
that
just a word in front of another word.
Like you had mentioned, like it only affects law-abiding citizens. The only reason, like if you look at the statistics of, I think it was 1994 when that ban went into effect. 92, 94,
it would
something like
have
that.
Probably been 94. It could have been 94.
So when
I was pretty young.
Yeah, so when
I didn't really know.
Shut up, Doug.
I just remember. I remember bear baiting got banned around that area.
Yeah,
too.
so
92, I think is when it got banned.
So
bear baiting, yeah.
When Clinton put the assault weapons ban
he
in
was
place,
a real piece of work too.
Yeah, sad, yeah. There was
where we started going wrong, America.
If you guys Google this and you're like, oh, did the gun ban work? And you look at, like, okay, here's like CDC statistics, here's such and such, and they'll bend them to their will. Like there was I looked them up and there was some sponsored ad by some piece of shit company out of Seattle. It was some hard left, blue-haired liberal, cutting wieners off type of people. And it's total bullshit. Like here's the thing, you can bend it, you can bend anything to your wants. Like all you got to do is make it up and put it on the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you talk about like the whole like strict law thing. I mean, just look at Chicago.
Yeah. So
Illinois has like one of the strictest rules on guns, period.
Yeah.
In the country, and it's by far the worst. I played baseball out there, and I shit you not, on 2 of the weekends where I was out of town, Memorial Day weekend and 4th of July weekend, there was probably over 150 people involved in shootings.
Yeah. And they have the strictest gun laws in the country.
Yeah. I mean, granted, it's a lot
There's your evidence, folks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, crime on crime shootings, but still, regardless of the fact, it's the strictest place of gun laws.
Because if you're going to break the law, right?
The people are going to do it. The criminals
deal.
don't give a shit about the laws.
Right.
If I'm going to go out and buy
That's
a gun,
the whole thing.
legally, right, and I'm going to spend the money to do it, I'm probably not going to go shoot somebody with that gun, right? Because I'm not a criminal. So if I'm going to go like buy something off the street because now whatever.
You're a responsible person.
Yeah. So,
like off the get,
So my point was back to that ban. The only reason that you could maybe somewhat say it worked a little bit is because when you banned those guns, it made them more valuable. And so more collectors were buying guns. The value went up in those guns. So no guns went back out.
Not only that, is a lot more. There was a lot more sales when that shit was about to go down too.
Yeah. So his big push to get rid of assault weapons
Actually, probably sold more.
Sold guaranteed. It was probably a whole 2 or 3 years worth of sales that happened in a week.
Oh yeah, it's been a ridiculous amount of numbers.
My gun shop sold more guns in the last 2 weeks before the ban than I had the entire previous year.
See, there you go.
There you go.
So what did you do, Inslee?
Facts don't lie.
Pushed more
Good job,
weapons out
Inslee.
into the hands of people that are not even trained in a lot of these. Because a lot of guys are like, and I'm just going to be honest here, because this is what we do, right?
But these are law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, they're law-abiding citizens.
The right way, have the right morals.
But a lot of these guys necessarily didn't even want it or didn't even thought,
need
like,
it.
I don't.
But
there's a lot of guns
it,
that are just going to safes.
But they're like, I'm just going to buy one
They're
because
just going into safes.
they're going to be banned and I won't have the opportunity to buy one possibly. So I'm going to buy one.
Yeah.
I think that.
And I bought an extra one just because I wanted to have another one.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm going out and doing personal classes for guys. Like, hey, this is how you operate it. This is how you break it down. This is how you clean it. Here's all the parts.
I mean, that's not a bad thing at all.
No, it's a good thing.
No, it's a really good thing that people are like going out and they're doing that. Do you look at that and some people are like, oh, there's just another.
There's not a single person.
Thing.
I can guarantee you, there's not a single person I sold a gun to that's going to take it out and go shoot somebody and go commit a crime. And people, I'm sure there's probably some naysayers on the interwebs to be, how do you know that, Chris? I'm like, well, I can tell. There's people that I did not sell guns to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like just didn't because I'm a private company. I can refuse service or whatever. But there's people. Oh, maybe you don't need this. Maybe you just need this. Type of deal. Like
you get a pretty good read.
Yeah, a pretty good read. And honestly, I don't get a lot of that in the gun shop, anyways. But
right.
If you're gonna do something terrible, if you're gonna commit a crime, you're not gonna buy a gun in the gun shop, anyways. Most likely. Like when you look back, and again, I go back to the numbers. Like we're talking hundreds of people have been shot in these mass shootings, right? And I say mass shootings, and if you look up the stats, a mass shooting is either 3 or 4 people or more, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what they consider a mass shooting. So it's horrible. No one should die, right?
Yeah.
But it's Pandora's box. You've opened it. We've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of guns. You cannot close that box. There's zero chance of it happening.
Yeah. There's too much out there in the world.
Let's say tomorrow Biden comes out and he says, I ban all guns. Everyone needs to turn them in right now. What do you think is going to happen?
I know what will happen.
All the law-abiding citizens are going to turn in their guns, and all the criminals are going to go crazy, and then we're going to have a purge.
You're living in fairy tale land, Doug.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, we would have a
civil war. I ain't giving up shit.
I'm not turning in my guns. No one's turning in their guns. That's silly because
I'll just put it out there right now.
I think with the whole COVID thing and everything else, there's such a lack of.
So mine got lost in a boating accident.
I just think that like there's
screw that.
No one has
come and get it.
Yeah,
come and take it.
Confidence in our government Biden. After we've seen like all the lies and all the nonsense and like Elon Musk buying Twitter, and then you see all the stuff that came out,
which was awesome.
Like, oh my gosh, watch it. If you guys haven't watched it, watch the Twitter files. Like, holy shit! Like we're talking like a blatant disregard for like. Everything,
like all American values.
I'm talking like laws and anything good and right. Like, I mean, our government literally went in and like said, oh, you guys got to do this because you're a huge, massive corporation. You can influence the people, and so like, I feel like, and I'm not a tinfoil hat kind of guy, not even a little bit, but I feel like.
Well, the tinfoil things that you thought didn't exist have already been
all of a sudden they're out, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like all the stuff that you think is not true. It's what it is.
Now it's become normalcy.
It's crazy.
Like before, I remember having this conversation with Tiffany all the time, my wife, and saying like, she's always like, "Man, it's weird. Sometimes I think like maybe they're listening because I'll see an ad about something I talked about, and now it's just normal." Everyday occurrence, like that everything you're doing on your phone, everything you're searching on your web, everything you possibly say is being categorized and then targeted to you through advertising.
Yeah.
And that's become normal and okay to people.
And if you don't think that's true,
it's actually through social media is what it is.
I want everyone to talk about a boat for like a day. Just talk about a boat. If you're not a boat person, it doesn't matter. Talk about a boat. Talk about it right now. My phone's right there. I guarantee you there'll be an ad on Facebook that pops up. Says something about a boat.
How I've been thinking about buying a boat.
Yeah. Something about a boat.
Yeah.
Doug's going to buy me a boat.
Yeah.
Facebook.
I wish.
It's listening. You already gave them permissions every time you sign up for the apps.
I would love to buy a boat.
Yeah. And it's like selling your soul almost because, everyone wants to use it. Everyone wants that satisfaction of being able to get on social media and do all this stuff. But you're almost selling a piece of your privacy, honestly.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, and then we think that we can use it to our benefit, but really we just get shadow banned for everything because we are a hunting-based company that puts dead animals on the internet.
So before I get too sidetracked,
I think this whole
we're gonna call it sidetracked. We're gonna call it sidetracked.
Let's call it sidetracked.
Maybe that's the name of this podcast. Sidetracked.
So I'm open to anyone's suggestions that wants to like and subscribe and put their comment below. But so Jay Inslee is not running for a fourth term, and all of a sudden,
oh gosh,
guess who steps up, right?
Yeah, Mr. Was it Ferguson?
Yeah. And he is just.
I knew it too. I knew it.
He's just a dirty,
slimy.
He's a gross guy. He's just a
pasty white. Looks like
he's
got these very. Don't take this wrong, people. Very feminine looking hands.
Yeah,
like if
super just soft.
You can just look at him and go, man, if I shook that guy's hand, I could just crush it.
So I haven't met this guy, but I have seen some stuff on the internet, and this guy's name is Semi Bird, SEMI, as his first name. His last name is Bird, BIRD. So Google him on the internet. He doesn't have a whole lot of
spoof, folks.
No, it's a real deal.
Semi Bird.
So he's going to run for governor in Washington. He's a Republican, and he seems like he's a former Marine.
He's got all of he checks every single box of what we need, and his plan. He has a plan. I mean, he has it's not a bachelor's or a master's. It's a doctorate in science. What is it? Scientific something.
He seems like a smart guy.
Yeah, he's behavioral science.
Behavioral science. He's a school board director. Like, he seems like a smart guy, right? Again,
highly decorated.
I haven't personally talked to him. I'd love to talk to you if you want to reach out.
We should get him to come on. He went on my buddy Andy's podcast.
He seems like a smart guy.
Yeah.
I feel like we need a change here. Mm-hmm. We need to change real bad because what a mess we're in.
Yeah, whether you're Democrat, Republican, whatever the other side.
Whatever you want to be.
Libertarian, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Can't you just see that this place has gone to hell? So let's try to stop that maybe. Maybe not vote the same idiots in there over and over. Ferguson could be the worst possible thing to replace Inslee.
Here's the problem is they know that they're doing the wrong thing. Like up front, they know they're doing the wrong thing. They know they're costing everybody money.
They lie about it.
Huge level of corruption. There's got to be.
Yeah, and they don't care. Mm-hmm. Like, back in the good old days, back when I was a young man, you could just go up and punch a man in the face for being a piece of shit. But we can't do that anymore. Right? Yeah. Otherwise, I'd say you could live in a van down by the river, but we can't even afford that now.
It's not the 80s anymore.
Yeah, because vans are $100,000. So
well, and then you can't go live in a van down by the river because everybody else is doing that.
Yeah, everyone else is doing it. Well,
unless you got a good spot.
We could in downtown Seattle for free. But,
if you're the first one there.
You don't even have to live down by the river anymore.
It almost pays to be a piece of shit, and it's really bumming me out, that these guys are just...
Oh, and then this is going off on a little bit more of a tangent here because might as well jump it in, right?
Let her rip.
So, and then at the end of all of this shit sandwich that you get to eat all year long, and then all these things happening, and then tax season comes, and you're like, man, all that hard work that I just did, and like you spend all the monies, and like me and Chris, we own our own businesses, so we pay employees and we have different things that we're investing in, and we spend all this money in equipment and all these different things. And then you get to hand a big, huge, fat check over at the end of the year when you thought you almost should have been flush, on top of the hundreds of thousands that you paid in taxes before then.
It's ridiculous.
And you don't see the benefit from it.
No, there's no benefit.
Yeah.
No.
Especially in this state. There's no benefit. So the problem that we have is we work really hard. You work, if you're a regular guy, like you work like Doug's a W-2 kind of guy, right? Doug works January, Doug works February, and Doug works March for free for the government.
Yep.
And if you're a W-2 employee, think about that for a second. You do the same. Every single person does the same. The first 3 months of the year, you work for free. That's not your money. That's the government's money.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. That's how it works.
And I'm probably at the top of the tax bracket too. So
if you're self-employed, let's tack on another month.
Well, you get the highest level of tax.
I do.
Yeah. And then let's say April.
Not only that is especially when, if you do what I do, which is dirt work, you work a lot of hours in the summertime, so you get overtime.
And then you got to work with shit, and then you get AIDS.
Yeah,
and
then you got to do that, but that's different. But when you start working overtime, you get even a higher tax bracket out of that.
Yep.
And they take literally almost half of that money that you worked that, extra time for.
Yeah, it's.
Well, did you see that? So Josh,
for what?
Josh Smith just put out a post that he did the other day. I think he finally he hit that moment where well, me and you have hit it many times,
big time.
where it comes the end of the year and you go through you're all like, man, nervous about taxes because you're like, what am I gonna owe? And you think you have a good accountant, and then your accountant's like, I didn't account for this, and this, so you owe $10,000, and $10,000 would be a great number that I'd be happy about most of the time.
Yeah.
But you get hit with like, 40, 50, 60, $100,000.
Yeah.
And you just like everything that you plan to use that money for, just gone. Like, I have equipment that I want to buy. I have vans I want to buy. I want to give my employees bigger bonuses. I want to create
that money
more
that
benefits.
we're putting, giving to the government, we should be putting back into your business.
Right. And I'm not a person who's opposed to paying taxes completely, because I know that there's a lot
of good state workers out there that we need, to take care of a lot of stuff that you don't really see.
Right.
It's just they piss
it away.
That's
it's so blatantly obvious that they just piss it away.
Especially in times like this, in times of when you have Democrats in office across the board, and this is not if you have, like I said, I have really good friends. I have like one of my best friends lives in Oregon. His name's Jesse. He's a fantastic human being. I have another good buddy, Bradford. He lives in Tennessee. He's a Democrat. Great human beings. But they spend more than Republicans, right? They just do. They spend more than the Republicans, and the problem is we have a massive deficit. I mean, a disgusting.
Not even the biggest problem we have right now.
And the thing is, like, we spend all this money, and the thing is, when you sit down at the end of the day, and you're like, okay, like, think of it as a credit card, our president has a credit card and he's swiping it, like. Who's gonna pay for that?
Swiping it, more like laundering it.
Right.
Who's gonna pay for it? Like the thing is, it's gonna come down to a day where it's like, hey, we're so many hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt, and then all of a sudden, what do we do?
Yeah, it's like this new thing that they're talking about with China and Russia and all these other countries binding together to try to take over. The way that the world uses money.
Yeah, and so no more dollar,
the American
right?
dollar is no longer going to be the standard.
And it goes to pot, and all of a sudden, we get a loaf of bread costs $6,000. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, we become a third world country.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How does that feel?
and I pray that doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it's going to happen quick, and it's going to affect every single bracket.
It would suck. It's just going to be a mess. And the problem is people like the free. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These people like all these little shitheads that are going to college right now and think like, oh, I'm just gonna spend whatever, and I'm gonna get my debt just like wiped clean.
Yeah.
Everyone that's listening that's ever thought about that, like, shame on you. That's a shithead way of thinking. Like, my wife went to like 1 million years of schooling, and she racked up a huge debt, and she worked her ass off to pay it off. Right? And I get it, like, it sucks, but at the same time, no one's putting a gun to your head and saying you have to do this. I went to 2 years of college. Like, I played football and track, and I drank. Like, those were my sports, right?
Doug, you know anything about that?
Yeah, Doug and I both did that, right?
I can relate.
I only got 2 years though, Doug. So but the thing is, like, I paid for it, and it was done, and now, I realize that, like, the way college is run, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't. It didn't for me. It didn't get me anywhere.
I think a lot of people, you talk about the whole free education thing through college. Just like I had probably 80% of my schooling paid for, just because of my athletic scholarship. But you know what? I earned it.
But you had a skill set.
I earned it.
I'm talking about shitheads who don't have a skill set.
No, that's what I'm saying. Even people that are kids that are well educated, that want to put in the effort to actually do good in school, like, good for them. They earn it. I think kids that get scholarships because of that reason and get money for schooling, that's how it should be. And it was like that, but now all these kids, they just want free schooling. And it's just like, where the hell is all this money coming from? It's coming from all these guys that are blue collar, that are working their asses off.
It's a write-off.
It's
a write-off.
Right? They just gave it to me.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and everyone out there I know is trying to make heads or tails of what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Well, it's become a very confusing world.
And we'll just put it simple in these terms, shit runs downhill.
Yeah.
So whoever's in control of the country, you can just see it. It's just running right down the hill.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
Back to the 1240.
That was a hell of a rant. That might be a new record.
That was a good one. Back to the 1240. We're in a tight spot, boys. We're in a tight spot. You need to, if you're listening, you need to support the people that I mentioned before. You need to hopefully be a little more vocal about it, like however you can, social media, whatever. I know we get shadow banned. I'm shadow banned. Everyone's shadow banned. If you're a part of the 2A community, this doesn't help my regular business, right? The stuff that pays for all of the shit that you guys see. It's not this. It's not the gun shop. It's my regular day-to-day business, and this doesn't help it. But the reason I do it is because it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in sexually mutilating children. I don't believe in breaking the Constitution. I don't believe in any of that, and I think it's all bullshit. And unfortunately, that we have to put up with it in this point in society. But the pendulum is so far left right now, it will swing back, but it's going to take everyone's efforts to make it swing back. So we just ask you to, reach out, donate to FBC, donate to Gun Owners of America, reach out to the Silent Majority Foundation. Hey, I don't have any money, but I got time. Can I volunteer? Can I do something? Do something, basically is what I'm trying to say. So,
yeah. This is just a battle that is going to take everyone's effort to swing it back.
Unfortunately.
And money. It takes money, too.
It does take money,
Yeah. Freedom ain't free.
I mean, lawyers aren't cheap.
Lawyers are not cheap.
Like I just said, Jim.
Yep.
Freedom ain't free.
No, it's not.
And we all put our time in, and we all put our money in, and we all write checks, and it's and it sucks, but it's part of the deal. So we gotta do it.
And this is America, and we want to keep it that way.
Right. Yeah. And I would say too, on top of that, for the people out there that know like a small business that's being affected by this, like Chris has a gun shop. His main source of income is not the gun shop, but there are places out there that their main source of income is their business that they built.
Yeah.
And they're hurting right now because they cannot sell half of the firearms that they were selling before. So whether you need it or not, go increase your collection of regular handguns or bolt action rifles or whatever you can do to keep sales rolling through those places. I would say do that. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't need it, just to help those people out and get them through this point, because
Chris,
it's really stinking hard to start a business.
I went up, so my gun shop's in Stanwood. I went up north. I did actually buy some stuff through Cabela's just because I was headed south, but I went north. I know the guy who owns Gadget Arms, and there's what's a shooting facility called?
They're in Mount Vernon?
In Burlington, yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
Anyways, and some people think like, oh, that's my competition and I shouldn't. No, I went up there. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands and freaking thousands of dollars and bought a bunch of parts and bullshit from them that I needed, like in the gun shop, that I could have ordered through somebody else or maybe some East Coast company or whatever. But I needed the parts, and these people live in my neighborhoods. Like they're part of this community. And if I can, say I paid retail, maybe I paid 40% more than I should have. But the thing is, like, these people are the same as me. They're no different. They're just trying to make it. They're trying to feed their family. They're trying to pay their bills. And, it makes sense. It's just like when COVID happened, I don't eat out. I don't ever eat out. I'm not a guy that goes and buys coffee. I don't take the family out to eat. We eat at home. And we went out all the time, and I went out and I bought coffees, and like I had a guy. He's like, "Oh, my daughter just opened a coffee shop in Stanwood." I went there and I bought shit and coffees day after day. I took my daughter there, took my wife there, took my mother-in-law there, and just spent money because it contributes to your neighbors, right? And it helps people, and that's what you need to do. Like you really need to look out for people around you that are going through the same struggles that you are, especially when they're affected by the same shitheads like Inslee and Ferguson that are trying to just destroy America. Like it literally blows my mind. Like you think about it, like why are they trying to destroy like some of the best things in the world? Maybe they've never traveled abroad. Maybe they've never been to South Africa or shit, even to Canada, like,
right.
I mean, go up there and deal with Trudeau, like, or go to Mexico and like realize like, hey, like there's a lot of people that have it a lot worse. And we come here and these guys are just trying to, I don't know, like
they're trying to create this
communism.
Utopia of, yeah, exactly. Doug just pretty much hit it. We're trying to create communism.
Didn't want to say it, but I'm just going to throw it out there.
There you go, Doug. Put it out there. In the
Doug will love this. I have a buddy who owns the CrossFit in, I think it's Burlington or Mount Vernon. It's God damn it, I can't remember the name. Anyways, great guy. And he bought me a shirt, and he said, and it says, I should be wearing it right now, and it says the F in communism stands for food, because there's no F in communism, like, because it's a joke, right? So all these people that believe in socialism and communism, it's total bullshit. Show me where it's ever worked in the history of the world. It has not. And if you believe in that, you're a idiot. You are.
All communism does is it may work for like a little bit of time, and it sucks for the people that are going through it.
It works great for the people that are running it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you're the top couple of people.
Almost every single communist nation, after some period of time, ends up in a huge revolution, and the people burn
Look
the freaking
at China right now.
Yeah,
you don't even see it, but it's happening. People are literally standing in line to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse until the world just burns itself down. Like, don't be an idiot. Mm-hmm. Be a good person.
Yeah, don't let it happen, guys.
Do better. Do better.
Well, do we want to switch direction here, Doug?
Yeah, let's grab.
Okay, so
hard left.
All right, so
let's brighten things up.
Brighten it up a little bit. Okay, so what do we want to do? We want to tell some stories to kind of brighten the day a little bit.
Let's do a little Steven Ranella transition.
Steven Ranella.
We hadn't brought up a Steven Ranella transition in a while.
Let me stop you right there, guys.
Doug, why don't you give me give me your best pro tip, Doug? Give me a hunting pro tip.
My best pro tip?
Off the cuff, just a random.
It's got to be. It's got to be within. You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Make sure you pack lots of underwear.
That's pretty good.
I don't know.
I apologize. I totally caught Doug off guard with that.
You did.
I'm gonna start,
but really, bring lots of underwear on.
Lots of underwear. I'm gonna
and socks.
Socks.
Hey, don't you? That was mine.
Yeah,
that was mine.
Got you.
So I went hunting with a guy who
know your elements, guys. If you're going out and hunting, know your elements.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I went hunting with a guy who was a wildland firefighter, and one of those kind of guys. He's like, I don't know, 6 foot, 6'1", just wiry, thin, fast as shit. Doesn't need to eat anything. Could go for days, type of deal. Mm-hmm. Hikes straight up the mountain. And we were talking about socks, and I go, yeah, like that's the thing that I bring. Like I can wear a pair of underwear like 3-4 days. I don't give a shit, right? But my socks,
you just turn them inside out, and you got a whole nother pair, right?
front, back, inside out, front, back. Like that's 4 days, dude.
Jeez.
So socks, no, I need 2 pairs of socks. And I need fresh socks every day, right?
Yeah.
Every day I wear fresh
You
socks.
got to wear fresh socks.
And he goes, what kind of socks you wearing? I'm like, I'm a Costco man, right? I'm just whatever Costco has. I'm buying 2 pairs of each day. Yeah. So I have like, to become, I got 20 pairs of socks, right? And he goes, you need to wear these socks because they will blow your mind and you cannot wear them out. They don't stink. You don't need to double up on them. And I called bullshit big time. And they are the best, probably one of the best pieces of gear I think I've ever bought. And they are called Darn Tough socks, right?
Really?
And there's multiple different types of them, but they're made by Darn Tough. I bought them on Amazon, I think. We're not sponsored. If Darn Tough wants to send us a socks.
What are they made out of?
I don't know. They're like probably something that gives you cancer. I don't know.
Hair.
I think they're like merino wool or something. I don't know. They're incredible. But I put 4 pairs, I think, in my pack, and I've never been able to wear a sock more than one day, right? In just a single sock, right? And they're thicker. They're like I said, I think they're merino wool. And number one, I don't know what they put in those things, but they do not stink. Even a smidgen after days. What? You can wear the same sock for and I'm a big guy and I sweat. I sweat a lot.
Oh yeah,
Chris.
Yeah,
dude. I'm
gonna have to get a pair.
Yeah,
you guys,
I got some hot feet. I tell you what,
I will put it out there to the interwebs, and I'm sure we're gonna get a lot of comments on this. But I will put it out there. There is no way that you can stink these socks out in a day. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Oh man.
And I'm talking like I'm a big guy and I wear a heavy pack, right? So like, say for instance, like say we go 10 miles in a day. Say I have a 40 or 50 pound pack and I'm 275 pounds on the hoof plus the pack, right? So I'm 325 pounds, 330 pounds with gear, boots, all the nonsense, right? And we're going 10 miles and I sweat. Again, I sweat a lot and my feet my feet are boiling right now, by the way. I should have put my penny runners on. They're so hot.
Yeah.
So I put these socks on, and I remember I'm in the trailer the very first time I wore them. I'm in Montana, and I take them off, and it was a long day, and it was a shitty day. I'm hot, and I'm sweaty. I just want a cocktail, and I pull my sock off, and I'm like, I don't really want to do the sniff test, but I'm going to do the sniff test, right? And I got it's a thicker sock too, and my feet felt great all day in them. They were warm, but they weren't hot. Right? Mm-hmm. Which is weird. It's kind of like that burner jacket I was talking about, that Kuiu burner jacket. Mm-hmm. Like it's warm.
Well, they say that in the merino wool, it really is like the best material that wicks away moisture.
I don't know how it works. It's like it's Hogwarts, dude. It's magic.
Llama or alpaca or
I don't know what the hell it is. Wool?
What does a merino do?
It's like a jet. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
How do you get the merino hair?
So I pull these things off and I smell them, and they smell. And if anyone who knows me, I have overactive olfactory senses. Like, I mean, I could smell like a bear. I'm not shitting you. I can smell you miles away. Like, I've always been. I don't know what.
Must be the Neanderthal. In
it is. It's definitely like the giant forehead I have. I can smell really, really well. Like really well, right? And I smell these things, and I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me! No way, nothing."
Huh?
And they were sweaty when I took them off too. Like they weren't socks, dry, nice. They were. It was like, well, I'm gonna set them on top of my boots, right? So I got my Kennetrek 400s, lay them out, set my socks on top, go to bed, wake up in the morning. Get up, coffee, and I'm getting everything ready, and I look at it, and I'm like, oh, shit, I should put these things on. I'm like, I'm going to smell them one more time, right? And I smell them. They don't freaking smell like anything. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. Again, I'm a 2-sock guy. I'm a religiously every time, because it's steep, right? We're mountains. It's up and down.
Yeah.
Put them back on. Same sock, which kind of grosses me out a little bit, but I do it anyways, because I'm like, I'm going to give it a go, right? For science.
For science. In the name of science, okay?
In the name of science.
Lace the boots up. We go out. I think we shoot an elk that day. And again, like I'm talking miles and miles and miles and miles. Like, I mean, and I packed the elk out that night. I remember because there was 2 guys that came and helped me pack this freaking elk out, and they were young, so I had to like double time it, right? Because I'm trying to keep up with these freaking 23, 24-year-old kids. And I'm sweating bad, real bad. Snow, didn't matter. Sweating my ass when we get back. And the same freaking thing. And I take these things off, and they do not smell. And I don't. It's witchcraft. It's 110% witchcraft. I don't understand how these things don't smell. And so
we're gonna have to try them out, Doug.
If you're listening, and again, I paid full boat for these things. They're like $29.
If I had tough enough feet, Jim, I'd hunt barefoot.
Like,
shit, you not.
They're expensive as shit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, they're like $29 for a pair of socks. They are worth every penny. If you got $29, buy a pair of these socks, they'll last. And so here's the kicker: the guy goes, "They got a lifetime warranty," and I go, "Well, what does that mean?" Because like I'm
lifetime sock warranty.
I'm skeptical, right? I'm skeptical, and I go, "Well, what does that mean?" He goes, "Yeah, if you wear them out, you send them back, no receipt, like Leupold." So everyone knows who knows me well, I'm a Leupold guy because I've had buddies run over my scopes with pickup trucks, and we've smashed things and break things. You send it back, they send you a brand new scope. Leupold's like one of the best companies on the planet. Mm-hmm. He goes, I wore a pair of socks out from hiking like a bajillion miles because, again, he's fighting wildfires, right? Mm-hmm. Up in the mountains. And I'm talking like 30 miles a day this kid's going. He's a freaking machine, right? And he puts hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles on his socks, and he sends them back in, and they send him a brand new pair. No receipt, no nothing. Swear to God. True story. Skyline Pursuit. Look the guy up. Nice. He's a real deal. Yeah.
I like that.
True story. So, socks, darn tough.
I got a sock story. Since you're talking about socks.
Good luck beating that there, cowboy.
Oh yeah? Here, hold my
beer. You better saddle up there, pilgrim.
All right. So speaking of sock stories, let's rewind. This would be probably early 2000s, maybe 2006, 2007. No, maybe even 2005, maybe 2004. I don't know. It was quite a long time ago. We're going back to Trout Lake.
Is this the neoprene sock story?
No, Doug, but that is a pretty good one. Speaking of smelly socks, I'm not going to get sidetracked on that one. So we're hunting in Trout Lake, and then I have a lot of Trout Lake stories because we used to hunt there. That used to be our family's area. We used to hunt elk every year until things went to hell for that elk herd.
Right.
And so we're in there. It's opening weekend. And as you can imagine, it's modern season. Oh. And it's the pumpkin patch.
Modern season for anything.
Yeah, modern season
the
elk.
Orange Army.
Any elk unit. Mm-hmm. So I think we're about 4 or 5 days into the hunt. Haven't even seen an elk. And we're talking like a 12-mile day would be an easy day. We're talking 20-mile days. Oof. Just like beating it up, looking here and there, and I'm young, I'm spry.
Yeah.
I'm putting all my skills to the test,
You're soldiering on.
Oh yeah.
Inslee hasn't beaten you down yet.
No.
Bob Ferguson hasn't shit in your Cheerios.
Not yet.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, I still think America's got values.
Yeah.
So I remember we started getting into some areas where there's some elk, and when I started seeing some sign and stuff and like fresh shit and tracks, and we had this idea that there was probably some elk in this one little patch up between these two road systems, and it was dark and it was nasty. And so
I think I know the area you're talking about.
It was up above the area where we quit and then dropped back down.
Yeah.
But it was So
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the exact road.
Yeah.
Just because it's so good there, you should definitely go out there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I start dropping into this section, and we were supposed to be doing. I think we were trying to just like grid through and like see if we could pinpoint these elk. And like halfway through the section, I started getting into some really fresh sign, and I was like, it was in that dark, thick, nasty timber where it's like, you know, where bulls live. Mm-hmm. And everyone else like keeps going, and I slow it down to like a snail's pace. And they're all down on the edge of this section down at the bottom, and they're supposed to be waiting at the road down below or something like that. But I think they just all kept going, and I never met up with them. But back then, like, we didn't really... They knew that if I didn't show up, it's just because I'm off doing my own thing. And then unless I didn't show up to camp that night, then they would start worrying. But
I'm going to Stephen Rinella real quick. So people who don't understand what James was talking about, a section is 640 acres, and it's exactly a mile by 1 mile. So when you look on your Onyx, or if you look in your mapping software, when you zoom out, everything is gridded north and south, east and west in these blocks, right? And a block or a section is 640 acres, which is a pretty good size piece of dirt, but it's 1 mile by 1 mile. Go ahead, James.
Yes. So here we go. So as I'm dropping in there, I start getting into that sign, and I'm not worried about what everyone else is doing at this point. I'm just in the zone, right?
You're in it to win it.
I'm creeping, and I'm looking, I'm glassing, I'm trying to pick stuff apart because I know if I catch an elk in there, it's going to be bedded down because it's the middle of the day. And all of a sudden, I get this smell. It hits my nostrils. You know which smell it is. The elk smell. And I go, oh, I smell elk right now. And then I check the wind, and I'm like, okay, it's downwind from me, so it's right below me somewhere. So I know in this general vicinity below me, there's some elk because I can smell them. So I slow it way down, and I'm like looking, and I'm picking stuff apart, and I get probably another 40 yards from where I first smelled them, and all of a sudden the woods just erupt, and this giant bull jumps up in front of me, probably 30 yards in front of me, and he's in thick shit, and he just blasts, and he's got his head back, and he's running downhill, and I throw up my gun, and he's already gone.
Right.
And I'm just like, damn it, like so disappointed. And I'm like, man. And I have, two decisions. Either I can go after that bull, or I can give up. And I was like, no, I'm just going to keep going. Because I figured that bull is running down towards an open section towards the bottom. And I'm like, if I was a bull, I would run away from this person that just jumped me up and then lay back down again because I don't want to get shot in the open. So I just played off of that was probably what that bull was going to do. Mm-hmm. So I started creeping down, but as I'm creeping down, I realized, man, I'm being really loud. If I was more quiet last time, I would have got a shot on this bull.
Right.
So I take my boots off and I get into my socks and I leave my boots sitting there because I figure, it's only another maybe 300 to 400 yards from that point to the bottom of this section where it opens up into a clear cut.
Right.
And it's just like jack pines and an open clear cut, and then there's another road down below.
It's like very Cam Haynes of you.
Yes. So I start creeping down through there, and I get maybe...
James claims that he's the first one to ever do it.
Well, this was back 2000-something, so...
I think Cam Haynes got a few years on you, bro.
Yeah, probably. This is the first time I had ever heard of it. This was just my idea.
Cam, if you want to reach out and verify, you can reach us at Big Bear
Country Outdoors at gmail.com.
There we go.
All right. So I take my boots off and I start creeping down, and I'm way more quiet at this point. And I'm like creeping down through the stuff, and then all of a sudden I get that same smell again, and I'm like, oh, I think I'm getting close. And I'm like, maybe it's up here somewhere, or maybe it's another bull or whatever. And I get to the point where I can start to see like something, like it looks like a patch of tan, and I'm like, oh, I think that's him right there. And I'm like putting my gun, I'm trying to get every angle, but it's all this reprod dark timber shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting, all I can see is a little piece, and I think it's an elk, but I can't really see. And I started creeping forward, and I'm trying to get the angle. All of a sudden, boom, he erupts again. And I'm like, damn it. And I'm just pissed. But I can see he runs down out of sight, and I don't hear anything again. And I think, I wonder if that son of a bitch stopped again.
Right.
So then I go again, and this time I'm really creeping. Now this last time, this is where it gets really frustrating. I get down to the bottom, and I can see the edge of the clear cut through the trees. Like there's open, like blue sky. And I'm like, oh, that clear cut's right there. And I'm like, and I didn't hear any shots or anything. And I was like, okay, he might be just like right between us here. And I creep down forward again, and I start seeing more patches again. And I'm like, and I'm putting my gun on it, and I can see like pieces of antler, but I can't make out what any of the body is.
Right.
And the really naughty side of me was like, just send one in there, but but I didn't. And then all of a sudden, like I'm like trying to get an angle, and I step on this little tiny twig, like the tiniest little twig, and it just goes, and boom, he erupts, takes off, blows into the clear cut, and as soon as he blows into that clear cut, maybe 2 seconds go by, I hear boom, boom, and I'm like, damn it, and I walk down to the edge, and I have no boots. Right. I'm in socks. And I get down there, and I get to the edge of the clear cut, and I can see the road is probably, it's because I'm uphill. The road's probably 100 yards below me.
Right.
And there's these two guys standing there, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. And I can see where the bull blew out, and they start working their way up, and they're looking all over, and they're in the wrong spot. And I can see where the bull had gone up through the clear cut, and it kind of went over a little swell on the hill there, and then went into jack pines. And I can see blood on a log, and they're like looking around for a while, and they're like, I don't know. I thought I had a hit, but I don't know. And the guy's like, son of a bitch, I think I missed. And I'm just like the devious side of me is like, son of a bitch.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm standing there in my socks, and I'm like, I see some blood up here. And the guy's like, really? Like, and they come running up, and then sure as shit, like there's just a blood trail. It's just like, the thing only went 50 yards. And so I helped them walk and track it. And they're like, hey, what happened to your boots? Like, where's your boots at? And I'm like, funny story. Funny story. Let me tell you a story.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was like, and the guy's like, this is my first time ever elk hunting. He's like, yeah, this is my first big game animal. And I'm like, oh, gosh. I'm like, yeah, well, I worked from the time that I started on that stock to when that guy shot that bull, it was 6 hours.
Wow.
I started in the morning, and it was almost evening time by the time that all went down. And so we find the bull. I didn't even, dude, I felt so sick about it, like, because we came so close,
Right.
That, like, I walked up, I saw him get to the bull. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to go get my boots. I couldn't even walk up and look at it. I saw it was a nice bull. It was like a 5x6, beautiful, rosy. One of those big, dark mane guys with a really light fur and just like chocolate antlers with just pearly white tips. And they start celebrating, and I had to do this walk of shame all the way back up through that section, which was probably 1,000 foot of elevation gain, probably 400 yards, and find my boots in the timber, which I barely found before dark, and then had to walk back all the way back to camp, which was another 6-7 miles after that. So
strong work. That
story
ties into the hunter etiquette. Strong work, James.
You got to have hunter etiquette. And help people even though you don't want to.
Yep. Bob Ferguson wouldn't have done that.
No, neither would have Inslee or Trudeau.
Jay Inslee or Trudeau.
Doug, you got any?
That's
any
where a lot of luck.
Stories
that's where
here?
a lot of luck comes into hand.
Mm-hmm. Well,
when you're a hunter.
I would love to be the guy that has a guy track an elk all day long and then blow it out to the road for me to shoot.
I would love to have that happen to me.
Yeah, would that be great?
I know that I've had that happen to me with deer.
Yeah, you have.
I've had that happen to me a handful of times.
Yeah.
Or become, in the wrong spot at the wrong time on deer, handful of times.
You got any good stories to tell there, Doug? Let's finish off on a Doug story.
A Doug story?
Tell us a funny bird story or something. Or if you have another story in mind.
A funny bird story. A funny bird story. I got a funny bird story. I think the whole, if you live in Western Washington, that we've always had a lot of snow geese over here.
Yeah.
Especially in certain times of the year. And in Western Washington, you have to put in for a card
It's like a snow goose card, yeah.
Right? So you only get so many, and you got to write them all down on this card, and you got to da-da-da-da, whatever. So this one time, I just gotten a bird dog. And, I was really hyped up on taking him out in a lot of places, even if it was, not really a good spot, or if it was overhunted, I just wanted to get him out there to do the stuff. So I took him out to Big Ditch, in Stanwood, right?
Yeah.
And it just so happened that I did not have a snow goose card, right? I just didn't think about it. I was just out there, duck hunting.
Yeah,
right?
It used to be like you had to like send into the mail or something.
And it was really like, I didn't think the chances of, shooting a snow goose was going to happen, right? It wasn't even crossed my mind. Well, it just so happened that day that I was sitting out there, and I just, kind of went over the ditch and walked out there on the flats a little bit till I got to about the water edge. And it just so happened the snow geese were flying. And they were flying about 20 yards high.
Oh, jeez.
Flock after flock, probably 2,000 snow geese flew over my head, 20 yards in the sky, and I just sat there and
just watched.
sulked as they just flew by nonchalantly, and there was no one out there.
Yeah.
So they're just going right by, and I'm just like, son of a bitch, the one time.
Doug, you have some luck like that sometimes.
I guess it is. I just have that kind of luck.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just my stories. They're just shitty luck stories.
No, you've had some good luck stories too. It's not easy. Hunting is not easy, people.
It's definitely hard.
It's worth it, though.
I know. I did have that. Streak though, where I got the 4 whitetail bucks 4 years in a row.
Yeah, that's a good streak to have.
I think that ties into the pro tips thing. It's like whenever I go like my Alberta trip, right? Mm-hmm. The guy's like, "Hey, do you want a wolf tag?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Should I buy a wolf tag?" And he's like, "Well, the odds aren't good, but if you have, they're like $100, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're going to go to Alberta on a hunt, your hunt's going to cost more than $100, right?"
Yeah.
So I'm like,
and if the opportunity,
if the opportunity arises, like, is it worth more than $100 to me? Like, if I was there and I didn't buy a tag, and a wolf came out, and I didn't spend the $100, I would regret that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you'd beat yourself up the whole time.
100% for $100.
Yeah.
So anytime I go anywhere, if there's like any sort of extra things or stuff that I can buy, like in Washington, like there's multiple years where I could have, it's not even tag soup. I'm talking like tag stew. Like because I buy all the tags every year, right?
Yeah.
You have everything. So when you go out in the woods, if something happens or something presents itself, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
It's not like
I just spent over $500 on getting the Get Outdoors package for Washington and all the special permits.
Yeah.
Right.
So stupid.
And even though we talk a bunch of shit about some of the people on the Game Commission because they're horrible human beings, that doesn't mean that we don't support fish and game. Like, there's a ton of good people there.
Right.
And even if you so I don't go out crabbing, or I don't go fishing, or I don't go deer hunting, or I don't go elk hunting. Whatever you're gonna do, doesn't matter. Buy a tag, and if you go, great. And if you don't, hey, it's still supporting these people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it goes to the greater good. So I think if you get the opportunity, just buy the tag. Who cares? Mm-hmm. It's not that much money.
No, not in the big scheme of things. When you figure out what you spend in a year.
Yeah.
if that's your passion,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And if you're going in the big game woods for deer or elk, 100%, every single one of you should have at least a cougar tag, if not a cougar tag and a bear tag.
Yeah.
Because we really need the
Bear
help
tags are super
managing
cheap.
cougars. Yeah.
Cougars and bears,
Yeah.
alike.
It's like $15 or something, or $20.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap her up on
Yeah,
that.
I think that's a good one to wrap it up on. Chris, why don't you talk about our sponsors for us, huh?
Yeah. Thanks again to we have a couple sponsors that we do. It's not like we're getting paid a bunch of money here, right? We get no money, to be completely honest. But we have
do this for free, guys.
Yeah, but we have some sponsors that do, like Loophole sent us some product. Montana Knife Company sent us some knives. Black Rifle Coffee sent us some coffee. But the kicker is we spend our own personal money on these companies. We believe in these companies. We think they're good people. And we feel like you should support these people as well. And we're very thankful for them just because I think we all have the same goal, right? And they support our vision. We support theirs. So we ask you to support them as we do. So Loophole, thank you very much. Black Rifle Coffee and Montana Knife Company.
Yep. And we're going to do the giveaway from the last episode.
Yeah.
On the next episode?
On the next episode.
Because we haven't had time because we're doing a doubleheader tonight.
Yep.
But on this one as well.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, if you like and subscribe and do all the other stupid shit that you're supposed to do. Tell me a funny joke or put something down there. I don't know. We'll pick a comment, right?
How about this? We'll continue the giveaway from the previous episode into this one.
Okay, well, that sounds good.
So the winner
two
of the comments,
episodes worth
two
of
episodes worth of comments we'll choose from.
And we'll announce that on the next one.
Yep.
Okay. That sounds good.
I think that's a good one. So with that, stay humble and hunt hard, guys.